Did you know a caravan of camels visited Virginia City, Montana in 1865? But this happy event ended with an unfortunate and deadly misunderstanding that we'll talk about later. The story is told in Chapter 2 of the 1971 book, The Bloody Bozeman, The Perilous Trail to Montana's Gold. The camels are coming! Hooray! Hooray! A remarkable event occurred in Virginia City in early June. A camel train came to town. This was less astonishing in 1865 than it would be now. Experiments with camels for pack trains in arid country had been carried out in parts of America, notably the Southwest, for several years. A camel could carry 600 to 800 pounds, travel 35 miles a day, live on brush, and get along 6 to 10 days without water. An express dromedary with a light load could briskly cover 75 miles a day. The use of camels for hauling freight is also described in this 1993 reprint of the 1960 book Wagon Road North. Historic photographs from 1863 of the Caribou Gold Rush, meaning the Caribou Regional District of British Columbia. The section on page 34 begins, "During the gold rush, freight was transported by methods from mules to oxen, stern-wheel steamers to trundle barrows, miners' backs to rafts, camels to covered wagons. For many years, however, mules and ox-drawn freight wagons were the main means." In theory, the project of using camels to haul freight seemed sound. A camel could carry about 800 pounds compared to a mule's 300, could travel 30 to 40 miles a day to a mule's 15, and could go for days without food and water, whereas a mule required both quite frequently. As a bonus, camels thrive in hot country, and in summer, sections of the Caribou are hot and dry. The April 27, 1940 edition of the Montana Oil and Mining Journal includes a large article titled, "Camel Caravans in Montana." Ships of the desert were introduced in northwestern U.S. in 1861. First humpbacked train reached Virginia City early in June 1865, and caused both amusement and consternation among Alder Gulch citizenry. The animals were imported via San Francisco from the highlands of Manchuria. The first camels were imported to the Northwest in 1861. The animals were shipped to British Columbia by way of San Francisco by the American Camel Company. The animals were put in service hauling ore and supplies between the Caribou mines and the coast. Chapter 2 of The Bloody Bozeman continues. The Montana Post for June 3, 1865 announced there would be free rides for children. Page 2 of this newspaper has one paragraph which states, "Dromedaries. We prophesied a dromedary extension to Montana, and here they are, 6 of them. They will, say the posters, carry 10 children each, pack 1,000 pounds, kneel and rise at the word of command, etc., etc." The exhibition will take place at the Gibson House, Idaho Street, on Saturday and on Sunday. Everybody and friends are going. What a splendid transport train they would make. The Aborigines would be scared to death, and each warrior would feel for a hump on his back. Okay, whatever that means. The book Wagon Road North does make a correction. The term dromedary express was wrong, since some of the camels were not dromedaries, or Arabian camels, which have only one hump, but Bactrians, which have 2. Remember, D for 1 hump, B for 2 humps. As for the camels that visited Virginia City, all belong to the 1-humped species, except one, which is a cross between the 1 and 2-humped species. This fellow is much larger than either sire or dam. He is a gristly-looking hybrid, a camel-like mule of colossal proportions. 7 weeks after the camels first visited Virginia City, the Montana Post added an update. On Saturday last, quite an excitement was created in town by the appearance of a train of dromedaries opposite Stoke and Levi's store. in presence of a large crowd of idlers and spectators attracted by the novel spectacle, the ships of the desert, which exhibited the most lamb-like docility, were made to kneel down, for the purpose of receiving their heavy burden of 600 pounds of flour each. As soon as the load was packed securely, they rose and traveled off with as much ease as a cayuse pony would, if laden with a miner's outfit. Their destination was Washington Gulch, which is accessible, as far as freight is concerned, by pack animals only. By the end of July, the Camels of Virginia City had been moved to Helena, where they were used for moving freight, such as merchandise and gold dust in nail kegs. After a few months, they were put on a freight run from Hellgate over the mountains to Walla Walla, Washington. But the book also adds, by that time the original 7 had become 6. How did that happen? No account of the camels of Western trails would be complete without the story of the camel hunt, which took place somewhere between Helena and Deer Lodge. Charles W. Cannon, the late Montana pioneer, has described this hunt in his reminiscences. There was a crack shot in camp from Kentucky who was a great hunter, Cannon wrote. His name was James McNear. He got sight of the camels and mistook them for moose. Well, I guess it makes sense. He crept slowly and carefully over the brow of the hill, fearful that the moose would scent danger and run away. He took aim at the nearest one, blazed away, and brought down his prey. The camel died without a struggle. McNear was just drawing a bead on another camel when the irate owner came running up, yelling and letting out a string of oaths. "Just hold on," cried McNear. "Don't bother me, and I'll get another." When McNear finally realized that the animals were camels instead of moose, he exclaimed with inimitable nonchalance, "Well, mister, you can have the camel if it's yours." This reply did not in any way pacify the infuriated owner. McNear was compelled to give up his gun, ammunition, watch, and all the money he had about him, and as a full measure to deed over to the packer a claim McNear owned in Ophir Gulch. The owner then compelled the man to dig a grave and give the camel a decent burial. Cannon recorded that after that McNear quit drinking and was always very careful to find out what he was aiming at before shooting. He was always known thereafter as Camel McNear. And so, one of the first camels to visit Virginia City got himself retired in the worst way possible. But the days of camels in the American West were not quite over yet, as we'll discuss in another video. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel for new videos every week or two, and see links in the description below for a list of books and online resources featured in this video.